Good evening, guys. Guess where I am tonight? Yes, of course. You've guessed it. It's London Victoria Coach Station again, where I'm going to be taking the overnight coach up to Edinburgh in Scotland with National Express. Now, the last time I did this, it was with Megabus, and it was a total disaster. The coach, it wasn't a Megabus, it wasn't a branded Megabus, to be fair, but the coach that was used was cramped, it was smelly, it was unhygienic, it was just a nightmare. And you know what, people said to me, well, what did you expect for £11? Well, I'll tell you what, guys, tonight's fare has cost me pretty much the same. So I've made a few little contingency plans this time, so I think I'm better prepared. Well, I'll tell you what, let's go and get on board, and I'll show you what you get for your money, and we'll see if it's worth it this time, shall we? I'll see you on the coach. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, the few times I've been down here now, it really surprises me somehow how busy the coach station is at night. I don't know why, because I mean, it is the main hub for UK coach routes, isn't it? And the way things are at the moment, with the general chaos on the rail network, I can only see it getting busier, really. And I think I've said this before, but the entrance looks absolutely fantastic in the dark when it's all lit up like this. I went through into the foyer as per usual, and I headed for gate 19, where our coach would be departing from tonight at 22:30 hours. And I was about an hour early, and yeah, as you can see, there's still plenty of food outlets open at this time of night. We've got the usual Pret and Starbucks, etc. But I think the best place to go to stock up with food and drink is the local Sainsbury's, which is just over the road outside. There are quite a few people hanging around the far gates, as per usual really, but as the coaches came and went, numbers did seem to thin out a bit. Unfortunately, as we neared the time of departure, there was no sign of our coach. First thought I had, therefore, was, here we go again. Okay guys, so Victoria Coach Station, gate 19 is our departure point for tonight's service, the 22:30 National Express service up to Edinburgh. Well, the reason I'm still sitting here at 26 minutes past 10 is because it hasn't turned up yet. It may be because of delays on the M1. It sounds like there's been quite a few incidents today, and the other thing to factor in is that by the time the coach gets here, the driver may need to go on his break. So I don't know yet. I'll give you an update as and when I know a little bit more about it, and I'll catch you in a bit. Well, time ticked on, and yeah, look at this, right? A McLean's coach turned up, which looked way better than the one I was on the last time I went up to Scotland. It's typical, isn't it? Well, I don't know, maybe somebody from the company watched my previous video and decided to improve things somewhat. Anyway, at 22:45, our coach arrived, a 4-year-old Scania Caetano Levante 2. And I'm going to give a massive shout out here to the driver, because he came into the gate, apologised for the delay, he told everyone what was happening and what our estimated time of departure was going to be. Now, I don't think he should have had to do that. National Express should have had someone at the gate keeping everyone informed of what was going on way before the coach turned up. But no, our driver ended up multitasking. And I'll tell you what, that wasn't the last of it either.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Boarding was swift enough. This coach was going to be pretty much full, with a few others getting on at Heathrow, which was the only other pickup point of the journey tonight. Now, first impressions were, pretty good. Standard National Express interior, really, with one massive advantage for me tonight, though. The best seat on the bus. Now, as I said in the introduction, I've done a little bit of research this time, and I discovered that seat 2A is located behind a singular seat in row 1, which is itself the designated seat for passengers with mobility issues. Now, this means that you've got unlimited legroom, which is obviously a big plus point, isn't it? Now, I want to say a big thank you here to Steve Marsh for highlighting this on one of his videos, who in turn had been told about it by Scott from Planes, Trains and Everything. Thank you both for the tip.
I'm not going to Glasgow, mate. No. Huh?
The poor driver now had to deal with random people shouting to him about where the coach was going. And then some late passengers turned up complaining that there were people sitting in the seats they'd booked. I must admit, all this stuff was quite entertaining, despite the fact that it was just making us even later. And it turns out National Express had double booked passengers into the same seats, and apparently this kind of thing happens all the time. Fortunately, it hadn't affected us, but there was nothing the driver could do about it, other than tell them to find alternative seats and raise the issue with National Express later on. The thing is though, both sets of customers had paid to reserve these particular seats, and that's not good, is it? I had a similar issue with Flixbus a while back, and I got the money refunded. I just hope National Express did the same thing. Anyway, we left Victoria at 23:41, 1 hour and 11 minutes late. And that's pretty late, isn't it? And I was slightly concerned as I was catching a train back to Shrewsbury from Edinburgh in the morning. And I didn't think I was going to make it. Still, there's nothing I could do about it now other than sit back and enjoy the beautiful sight of the Albert Bridge as we made our way west along the north side of the Thames towards Heathrow. Now there's not much to show you on a night trip, is there? So as we approached our comfort stop at Sandbach Services, I thought it was worth checking at the loo, which was located at the rear of the coach on the same level as the seating. I entered by means of a sliding door with a lock. There was a small mirror here and a sink with a tap, which started to produce water, then stopped. Worth saying that the driver did provide hand wipes once he was made aware of the issue, but yeah, handy tip here, always try the tap before covering your hands with soap. Now there's a sign here explaining that if you put anything other than toilet paper down the loo, you'll flood the coach. Toilet flush button, and yeah, plenty of loo roll if you need it. Yeah, okay this loo was, but lack of water was an issue. And let me know what you think. But I reckon they probably didn't have time to fill the tank before setting off again. So yeah, just after 3 o'clock in the morning, we turned off the M6 into Sandbach Services, where we had a 45-minute comfort break, and I was able to get some fresh air and give some thoughts about the journey so far. Right guys, Sandbach Services at 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, last time I was here, I'll tell you what, I just had a horrendous journey, and I think I was just stood over there by that wall thinking never ever again, and yet here I am a few months later, and yeah, I've got to say it's not too bad really. It was late leaving London Victoria, about an hour and a bit late, and we made up some time, but I still think we're going to get to Edinburgh probably about 45 minutes late, something like that. But yeah, the coach is comfortable enough. I haven't had much sleep as per the last time, but what can you do? Overall though, not too bad at all. I will speak to you again when we get back on the coach, probably when it starts getting light, because there's not a lot to see at the moment, including my face. And so yeah, I'll catch you a little bit later on. Yeah, interesting that McDonald's and WH Smith's are both open 24/7 here by the looks of it, which is great if you want a burger and a bargain bug at 3:30 in the morning. Not for me to be honest, but I must admit that despite having limited sleep again, I was feeling a lot better than the last time I made this journey. And I reckon that was down to several things really, the comfort and spaciousness of the seat, the ride quality of the coach, and the ambient temperature, which yeah was just about right throughout the journey. Now, shortly after Sandbach, we changed drivers, and it was time for the previous chap and me to try and get some rest. Daylight came and we turned off the motorway at this point onto the A702. And I reckon I drifted in and out of sleep for the last couple of hours, trying all sorts of positions to try and get comfortable. But yeah, like I said before, unlimited legroom definitely helped. The downside of this was just the lack of a dedicated USB charging point, although there was one on the side here, which was probably intended for the seat in front. But it could be used if you had a long enough lead. No worries though, and I had my usual battery pack with me anyway, which I kept in the seat back pouch. And that's the other thing really, because there's no seat in front of 2A, you theoretically don't have access to this or a drop down table unless 2B is unoccupied or your travelling companion is willing to share. But you know, I think that's a reasonable trade-off to make, considering you have absolutely the best legroom of the whole coach here. And of course a pretty much unobstructed view of the road ahead. The seat itself is a standard National Express dark leather type of style with a grey trim. It also incorporates a winged headrest, which is a big help. Lots of overhead storage available, although I was able to use my bag as a kind of ottoman in the foot space in front. Big windows and curtains throughout, but all in all a very comfortable ride. One of my neighbours there doing some stuff for his YouTube channel, I reckon. Anyway, we had about an hour to run at this point, and yeah, you know, the scenery heading towards Edinburgh just gets better and better, doesn't it? Okay, so we were on the outskirts of Scotland's capital city now, and yeah, we were looking at a total journey time of approximately 9 hours over a distance of 420 miles. Now that gives me just enough time to give you some further details on the journey and cost. Like I said earlier, the price I paid for this one-way ticket between London and Edinburgh was £11, which is the same as the price I paid to go to Glasgow from London with Megabus, give or take a penny. But in my opinion, it was a much better experience this time round. Now admittedly, a major contributing factor to this was the seat, and yeah, it did cost me an extra £3 to reserve it. Now remember, it's seat 2A, and I would definitely recommend that you try for that seat if you're looking at booking this journey yourself. It's worth paying the extra money for, believe me. And also remember that if you sign up for National Express, then you don't have to pay a booking fee either. So yeah, overall cost for me was £14 for what was a comparable journey to my last overnight experience in terms of the time taken and the distance travelled. So yeah, to be honest, for any journey at any price, I think it's reasonable to expect your transportation to be safe, comfortable-ish, and hygienic. I mean, you wouldn't go all the way to Scotland in a cattle truck for 50p, would you? Maybe you would. If you have, please let me know in the comments below. But anyway, yeah, I think National Express really delivered on this occasion. The delayed departure wasn't their fault, and we eventually arrived into Edinburgh bus station 55 minutes late. Nevertheless, I left the coach a little bit tired, but completely happy that all my aforementioned expectations had been met. Okay guys, just got into Edinburgh, and that was a London Victoria coach station to Edinburgh coach station, or bus station really, with National Express overnight. What do you think about that? Let me know. In my opinion, it's much better than the Megabus catastrophe I was on last time. But it's really late getting in. We're about 55 minutes late in the end, so I'm just walking down to Waverley station. I'm catching the train back, so I'm in a bit of a rush. So yeah, a bit of a whirlwind stop at Edinburgh, but yeah, I'll be back here again sometime soon. I'm sure there's loads to see and do here. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching. Massive thanks to Jimmy, my travelling companion today as well. A big shout out to him. And he's in the background there somewhere, lagging behind. But yeah, I've got to head down to the station now. Thank you very much for watching, and as always guys, cheers for now.